When I first heard the phrase clarity precedes opportunity, I didn't realize how deeply it would shape the way I lead, grow, and develop my career. Like many people, I assumed that if I just worked hard enough, someone would eventually notice. If I delivered great results, someone would eventually tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, you're ready for more." But it doesn't work like that, not in leadership, not in growth, not in high-performance cultures. Clarity is not a nice to have, it's the foundation. Without it, you are relying on luck, and luck is not a scalable strategy. Clarity is about knowing what you want, who you are becoming, and where you're going, and then having the courage to say it out loud. It's not just about vision boards or vague 5-year plans. It's about getting ruthlessly specific with your goals and communicating them with intentionality. For a long time, I operated under the assumption that if I kept my head down and executed, someone would reward me. But people are busy, leaders are focused on outcomes, they're not sitting around trying to guess what you want. When I finally got clear on what I was aiming for, when I actually took the time to articulate it, opportunities started to appear. Not because the world magically changed, but because I changed the way I was showing up. I wasn't waiting to be discovered anymore. I was leading my career with direction. Clarity forces you to take ownership. When you say, "I want to lead a team," or "I want to be considered for a strategic role," you're putting a stake in the ground. You're no longer being passive about your growth. That moment of clarity, when you name your ambition, becomes the filter through which you make decisions. Suddenly, you're not just reacting to what's in front of you, you're actively building towards something. You say no to distractions because you're clear on the destination, and here's the part most people miss. When you're clear, other people can align with you. Leaders can coach you, mentors can guide you, teams can trust you. No one can support a direction you haven't declared. You cannot expect people to rally behind your growth if you've never actually told them where you want to go. Clarity creates alignment, and alignment accelerates opportunity, but clarity also requires honesty, not just with others, but with yourself. You have to be honest about your strengths, your gaps, and your level of commitment. Getting clear on what you want doesn't mean it will be easy to get there. It means you're ready to take responsibility for earning it. It means you're prepared to be coachable, to ask for feedback, and to take action without being micromanaged. That's what clarity unlocks. It gives you a direction, and then it demands your discipline. The people who grow the fastest inside organizations are not always the most talented or the most experienced. They're the most aligned. They know what they want, they've communicated it clearly, and they're doing the work every day to back it up. They make it easy for others to invest in them because they've already invested in themselves. Clarity signals that you're serious, that you're intentional, and that you're not waiting around hoping someone notices your effort. The best part, clarity isn't something you have to wait for. You can decide right now. You can write down exactly what you want. You can schedule a conversation with your leader this week. You can start acting in alignment with your goals today, not next year, not when it's convenient, but now. Every day you stay unclear, you delay your growth. Every day you wait for someone else to name your next step. You give away your power. So if you want more opportunity, get clear, get specific, get vocal. Don't be afraid to tell people what you want. It's not arrogant. It's not presumptuous. It's leadership. Because the moment you get clear, you give others permission to help you grow. And that, more than talent, more than luck, more than hard work alone, is what creates real momentum in your career. Clarity always comes first. There's a belief many people hold, especially early in their careers, that if you just do a good job, someone will notice. That if you keep your head down, work hard, and don't cause trouble, someone will reward you. But here's the truth no one tells you until you've already missed out on too many opportunities. Closed mouths don't get promoted. Promotions don't go to the quietest person in the room. They go to the person who knows what they want, speaks up about it, and shows up like they're already doing the next role. I used to think speaking up about my goals was selfish. I thought it might come across as arrogant or pushy. I thought I needed to earn my time, before I could ask for anything more. But I learned the hard way that staying quiet is not a sign of humility. It's a missed opportunity. No one, and I mean no one, is coming to pull your dreams out of you. You have to open your mouth. You have to tell people what you want, why you want it, and what you're doing to earn it. Here's what most people misunderstand: leaders are not mind readers. They are managing performance, navigating pressure, handling people, solving problems. They are not sitting at their desk thinking about what you might want next. If you don't tell them, you become invisible. Not because they don't care, but because you haven't made your ambitions visible. Speaking up doesn't make you entitled. It makes you intentional. When you say, "Here's what I want," and you pair that with action, you become someone others can champion. When you tell your leader, "I want to take on more responsibility, I'm ready to grow, what do I need to do to be considered for the next level?" you immediately create clarity. Now they know what you're aiming for. Now they can support you. Now they can give you feedback, stretch assignments, mentorship. None of that happens if you keep your goals to yourself. This doesn't mean you demand a promotion. This isn't about entitlement. It's about ownership. It's about raising your hand and saying, "I want to be in the game. I want to play bigger. I'm ready to work for it." That mindset is what makes you stand out, because the people who get promoted are not the ones who wait their turn. They are the ones who declare their direction and move toward it every day. I've had team members who were incredibly talented but never said a word about wanting to grow, so they stayed where they were. Not because they didn't deserve more, but because no one knew they wanted more. And I've had others who weren't the most skilled at the time, but they were vocal, committed, and consistent. They spoke up about their goals, followed through with action, asked for feedback, and kept showing up. Those are the people who moved fast because they were coachable and clear. Being quiet doesn't protect you, it limits you. You can't assume that your results will do all the talking. Results matter, but so does communication. You have to tell people who you want to become. You have to ask for the opportunities you want. You have to advocate for your growth, because no one will ever be as invested in your career as you are. That's your job, that's your responsibility. If you're sitting in a role right now doing great work and wondering why you haven't been tapped for more, it's time to ask yourself a hard question. Have you actually told anyone what you want? Have you sat down with your leader and clearly articulated your goals? Have you followed that up with the kind of work ethic and consistency that earns trust? People respect courage. They respond to clarity. If you can show up with both, if you can speak about your ambition and back it up with performance, there is no limit to how far you can go, but it starts with using your voice. It starts with having the uncomfortable conversation. It starts with saying, "I'm ready for more. What do I need to do to get there?" Because closed mouths don't get promoted. Open ones, focused ones, committed ones, those do, every time. One of the biggest shifts in my professional life happened when I stopped chasing approval and started seeking alignment. I used to think success came from getting everyone to like me, from being the person who said yes to everything, from proving that I could handle anything thrown my way. I thought if I could just get enough people to say I was doing a good job, I'd eventually move up, but that mindset kept me stuck. It made me tired, resentful, and unsure of my path, because the truth is, approval is not the same as progress. You can be liked by everyone and still be going nowhere. What actually moves your career forward is alignment with the right leaders in the right environment doing the right work. Approval is external. It's fragile. It changes with mood, with personalities, with circumstances you can't control. Alignment is internal and strategic. It means knowing what you want, being clear about your values, and putting yourself in rooms where that vision can be supported. And here's the key: not everyone will agree with you, and that's okay. You don't need consensus to grow. You need connection with the people who matter. In the beginning, I tried to get validation from everyone. I didn't want to step on toes. I didn't want to be too much. I wanted to be liked by peers, by managers, even by people who had no influence on my growth. That need for approval watered down my voice. I wasn't speaking up when I should have. I wasn't pushing for more responsibility. I wasn't sharing my ideas boldly, and the worst part, I was saying yes to things that didn't serve my long-term vision just to keep the peace. When I started to get clear about what I wanted, what kind of leader I wanted to be, what kind of impact I wanted to have, I realized not everyone was going to be on board. Some people wouldn't understand. Some wouldn't agree, some would criticize, but the people who did align with that vision, those were the people who helped me grow. They opened doors, they challenged me, they coached me. They didn't care if I was perfect. They cared that I was clear. This is why alignment is more powerful than approval. It connects you to purpose, not popularity. You don't need 100 people clapping for you. You need one person who sees your potential and is willing to invest in it. You need to find the rooms where your goals make sense, where your ambition is welcomed, not diminished. That's alignment. That's where momentum comes from. If you're constantly adjusting who you are to fit what other people want, you're not growing, you're performing. You're exhausting yourself trying to keep up with a moving target, but when you shift toward alignment, everything changes. You start saying no to things that waste your time. You start focusing your energy on growth. You start building real relationships with people who actually want to help you move forward. This doesn't mean you stop being a team player. It doesn't mean you become difficult or selfish. It means you lead yourself with intention. You're not trying to impress everyone. You're trying to connect with the right people in the right places for the right reasons. It's easy to confuse being liked with being successful. But I've seen too many talented people waste years trying to win the approval of people who have no interest in helping them grow. Approval is cheap. Alignment is valuable. Approval is temporary. Alignment is scalable. So if you're wondering why you're not progressing, ask yourself, am I spending more time trying to be approved of, or am I focused on aligning with the people and opportunities that match my vision? Are you choosing comfort, or are you choosing clarity? Because once you start operating from alignment, you stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking to fit into roles that don't challenge you. You start taking bold action, guided by a deeper understanding of who you are and where you're going. And that's when things really start to shift. That's when growth accelerates. That's when leadership becomes real. You don't need everyone to like you. You need the right people to believe in you. And that only happens when you get into alignment. Repetition builds reputation. It's a simple phrase, but when you fully understand it, it changes the way you approach your work, your goals, and your career. People don't remember what you said once. They don't remember what you did once. They remember what you consistently show up for, what you do over and over again with excellence, with discipline, and with clarity. That's how you build a name for yourself. That's how people start associating your name with results, reliability, and leadership. Too many people think reputation is built on big moments, the presentation that went well, the one project that got recognized, the one time you went above and beyond. But careers aren't built on moments. They're built on patterns, and those patterns come from repetition, of behavior, of mindset, of performance. The people who grow the fastest are not the ones who show flashes of brilliance. They're the ones who show up consistently with intention. When I look at the people I've promoted, mentored, or invested in, they all have one thing in common. They do what they say they're going to do. Not once, not just when someone's watching, but always. They show up on time, they communicate clearly, they hit deadlines, they ask for feedback, and they take action. Not because they're trying to impress anyone, but because it's who they are. And that level of consistency builds trust. That's how you create a professional reputation that opens doors even when you're not in the room. Here's where most people go wrong. They do something once and expect recognition. They show up with energy for 1 week, then disappear the next. They talk about their goals but don't follow through, and then they wonder why they're not being considered for more. It's not because they're not capable. It's because they haven't repeated the right behaviors long enough to build trust. Leaders promote consistency, not occasional brilliance. Your best day isn't as important as your average day. What are you known for when no one's watching? This also applies to how you communicate your goals. It's not enough to say once that you want to grow. You have to keep reinforcing that message with your words and your actions. You can't just say, I want to be a leader, and expect that to stick. You need to align your behavior with that identity every single day. You need to speak like a leader, think like a leader, make decisions like a leader, even before you have the title. When you repeat those behaviors consistently, people start to see you in that role. That's how you earn the opportunity before it's offered. Repetition is what transforms potential into performance. It's easy to be motivated for a few days. It's easy to show up strong at the beginning. But who are you when it gets hard? Who are you when the excitement wears off and it's just about doing the work? That's where your reputation is built, in the quiet moments, in the habits, in the discipline. You have to decide what you want to be known for. Do you want to be the person who always follows through, the one who communicates clearly under pressure, the one who makes things happen without being asked? Then repeat those actions until they become part of your identity, until people associate your name with that level of reliability, because once they do, they'll start bringing you opportunities, not just because they like you, but because they trust you. And here's the best part: repetition compounds. The more consistently you show up, the more credibility you build. The more credibility you build, the more people start advocating for you. You become the go-to person, the safe bet, the leader in the making, not because you had one good idea, but because you showed up and delivered over and over again. If you want to be taken seriously in your career, if you want to lead, if you want to grow, you don't need to be flashy. You need to be consistent. You need to show up with discipline, focus, and clarity every single day, because repetition isn't boring. It's what builds your reputation, and your reputation is what builds your future. You're the CEO of your career. That means no one is coming to manage it for you. No one is responsible for your growth, your momentum, or your next opportunity but you. It sounds empowering, but it's also confronting, because the moment you really internalize that truth, you lose the ability to blame anyone else for where you are. That's the shift. That's when you stop waiting and start building. You're not an employee waiting to be chosen. You're the leader of your own path, and every decision you make is either moving you forward or holding you back. For a long time, I bought into the idea that if I just worked hard and stayed loyal, someone would eventually notice. Someone would map out my growth, offer me the next step, and tell me how to get there. But that never happened. Not because I wasn't capable, but because I wasn't owning the process. I was outsourcing the vision for my career to people who were too busy managing their own. The day I took control was the day everything changed. Being the CEO of your career means having a vision. CEO don't just show up and see what happens. They set targets, define outcomes, and course correct constantly. Your career requires that same level of intentionality. Where are you going? What are you building? What do you want to be known for? If you can't answer those questions, you're not leading, you're reacting. CEO aren't reactive, they're proactive. They don't wait to be told what to do. They set the direction and rally resources around it. You have to do the same. It also means taking ownership of your development. No one owes you a training plan. No one is going to sit down and custom design your growth trajectory. You have to look at where you are and ask, what skills am I missing? What experiences do I need? Who do I need to become to earn the next level? Then go find the books, the podcasts, the mentors, the opportunities. Invest in yourself like you would a company you believe in, because that's exactly what this is. People get stuck when they think someone else has to give them permission to level up. But if you're the CEO, you don't wait for permission. You make decisions, you take action, you ask for feedback, you implement it, and you evolve. If you want a promotion, build a case for it. If you want to shift roles, start preparing now. If you want to lead, start acting like a leader before the title ever shows up. CEO, don't wait for titles. They lead with vision and execution, and yes, it means making tough calls. Sometimes that means staying late to deliver excellent work. Sometimes it means saying no to tasks that don't serve your long-term direction. Sometimes it means moving on from a role or a company that no longer aligns. CEO have to make decisions in service of the big picture, even when those decisions are uncomfortable. You have to be willing to do the same. No one else is going to fight harder for your career than you will, so don't expect them to. The people who accelerate in their careers aren't just the smartest or the most talented. They're the most intentional. They don't leave things to chance. They manage their calendar with precision. They build relationships with purpose. They track their progress. They advocate for themselves. They have a growth plan and a standard for how they show up. That's what it looks like to lead yourself. Your career is your business. You are the product. You are the brand. You are the strategist. And if you're not managing it, no one else will. It doesn't matter if you're at the entry level or already leading a team. Your job is to keep growing, to keep learning, and to keep setting the bar for yourself. So stop waiting for someone to come tell you you're ready. Stop waiting for someone to hand you a roadmap. Take the role, own the responsibility, build the plan, because once you start operating like the CEO of your career, you stop hoping for growth, and you start engineering it.